Today's episode of What If Tim actually gets these Disney Plus series reviews out early? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Diz TV. If this is your first time here, welcome home. We're so glad to have you. And today, as you can guess, we are ranking all 9 episodes of Season 1 of What If. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Kicking things off at number 9 is What If the World Lost Its Mightiest Heroes? So this is episode 3 in the season, and it's an okay episode. Like, all these episodes are pretty good. Just something about this episode just really threw me off. Granted, it's talking about, what if the world lost its mightiest heroes, which we see that going on, but there's also other things too that aren't in the actual MCU timeline, such as Hope Van Dyne becoming a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. That's not in the regular timeline. And at least to me, I thought with this series of What If, it's the same timeline but branch off to different realities. So there's a specific point in time where, hey, these things changed, and in some part something changed dramatically. This felt like it was its different timeline, not necessarily a branch off of the main one. And I think that's where I'm not the biggest fan of this episode. Coming in at number 8 is episode 6, Killmonger Saves Tony Stark. This one again just feels very, very weird to me in placement. Sure, it's a cool concept, it's a cool idea of Killmonger and Tony Stark working together, but just the way they executed it felt very, very flawed and felt very rushed. I think they could have had a lot of potential with this one, but it just ultimately, to me, felt really, really flat. Coming in at number 7 is episode 7, What If Thor Was the Only Child? This one I do like because it's a concept of okay, we take the main story of this character, we get rid of one thing, and that is, this new branch off reality. That's what this episode is. It's an entertaining episode. It's not the best, it's not the worst. It is a pretty solid episode from beginning to end. Overall, still an enjoyable one. Coming in at number 6 is episode 5, Marvel Zombies. The zombie episode that a lot of us were excited for, including myself. This one was pretty good. Not the greatest episode in the world by any means, but it still was fun and entertaining. There was no real plot with this episode. It was literally just kind of hey, let's just take this storyline from the comics, put it in as an MCU timeline, and hope fans enjoy it. And again, it's a pretty fun episode. Not the best, not the worst. Coming in at number 5 is episode 1, What If Captain Carter took the serum instead of Steve Rogers? This one is another solid episode. This really was a great start to the series, in my personal opinion. I like the story of this one, how Peggy differs from Steve and how they interact with the serum, and how one simple thing changed. And the watcher explaining that to us helped really to push the series into something to be possibly quite good. Coming in at number 4 is episode 2, What If T'Challa Was Star-Lord? This one is the one outside of the Captain Carter one we heard a lot about before the series came out. And I gotta tell you, I was not disappointed with this episode. It was a lot of fun, it was entertaining, and the Thanos twist was quite fun. And overall, I really enjoyed this episode. Definitely one of the better ones in this series, hence why it's at number 4. Coming in at number 3 is episode 8, What If Ultron Won. This one is a fantastic episode. So we approach the ending of this series, of this season rather, and this is a fun episode. It's full of action, intensity, seeing Black Widow and Hawkeye. We see Tony die again, which at this point has gotten a little annoying, but overall, it really is a fantastic episode. We see how Ultron Vision gets the stones. I will say this though, the way that's done, as funny as it is, as he's split in half, perfectly balanced, it felt way too cheap, especially for a character like Thanos, who's supposed to be this big overarching villain. And granted, yes, it does make this version of Ultron look more superior. That to me just bugs me about this episode. Overall, it's a very strong episode. I really, really, really enjoyed it. Coming in at number 2 is episode 4, What If Doctor Strange Lost His Heart? Oh my goodness, this episode is intense. This is dark, it's nitty gritty, it's painful to watch, but it also shows the capabilities and the strengths of Doctor Strange, and man, does he pop off. Seriously, he is so strong in this episode and in the series in general. It makes me look forward to the Multiverse of Madness. It makes me love Doctor Strange even more. And again, this episode is just one of the best. But coming in at number 1 is the final episode, episode 9, What If the Watcher Broke His Oath? Of course, his oath is to not interfere with anything that transpires in the multiverse, but he does, in order for the sake of the multiverse, bringing together the Guardians of the Multiverse, all the different stories we've seen, plus one for next season. But really, it's just a phenomenal episode. It's a lot of action, it's a lot of adventure. We get to see the power levels of all these characters, which literally is like 80% Doctor Strange and like 20% the rest of them. But that's besides the point. It seriously is a fantastic episode, a great way to end the series. I wish it was a little bit longer and we had more action with the Ultron Vision, but overall, a very solid episode. Overall, this series was a surprise from beginning to end with the different stories. Some of them good, some of them okay, some of them could be definitely improved. I do enjoy this series. It's not my favorite thing that Marvel has put out in recent memory, but it definitely could open up the door to many different possibilities. Of course, we are getting a season 2, which I believe will be happening next year, which I'm looking forward to seeing some of the different dynamics we could see with some new stories, some new characters. Overall, I did like the series. I do think it is pretty cool and brought us some new versions of some of our favorite characters. And of course, it is very heartfelt with it being Chadwick Boseman's last performance as T'Challa in any form, and he did a phenomenal job. All the voice actors did, I think, a pretty great job, either reprising their characters or representing their characters. Overall, it was a pretty solid series. I enjoyed it all. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe down below, hit the bell to be notified for more videos on Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, the parks. See you all in the next one. Have a magical day. Goodbye.